Welcome to Reality of the Rose with your host, Natalie Sprink.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 197 of Reality of the Rose. I'm your host, Natalie Sprink. Welcome to this week's episode. I am a little late with getting this episode out. I had something else planned and it just did not work out. Timing was not good. So instead, I'm here a little late. Well, a little late, actually. It's going to be a little early for you. I'm going to really be releasing 2 episodes this week. I intended to have an episode out last week. And again, it was an interview. It just didn't work out. And so I skipped last week and I'm releasing this episode on Monday. And then I'm going to have another episode released on Thursday, which will be the Golden Bachelor recap of Mel Owens' season. So today I'm coming at you with 3 different topics. I'm going to be talking about Taylor Frankie Paul as the new Bachelorette. I'm going to be talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty. And I'm going to be talking about this season of Dancing with the Stars. We've had 1 episode so far. The second episode is tonight, so I'm a little late coming out with that, but I just watched it on Sunday. So here we go. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. If you're watching this, forgive the wet hair. I just did my weekly little hair mask, and so I'm air drying today. So forgive that. And also reminding you about, if you are interested in any merch from the podcast or really from me, I have my Etsy shop, which I am selling sweatshirts and t-shirts, all of which say be calm, be strong, be kind, be grateful. But then I have other little slogans like be unbothered, be different, be unique. Oh, I don't think I have be unique. But anyway, I always include that link in my show notes. So look for that. If you want to visit that and purchase one, I have my own and they are really good. I have a crew neck sweatshirt that I'm wearing. I don't have one of each, but I have a crew neck sweatshirt that is really cozy. I bought it oversized and I love it. So, and also, in case you are here to, so I'm covering like 3 different topics, all of which are sort of completely different categories. We have Bachelorette, we have Dancing with the Stars, although I have a feeling a lot of people who watch Bachelorette watch Dancing with the Stars. However, there's also Taylor Frankie Paul fans possibly that would be tuning in, but I also then have The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is probably a whole nother segment of people. So in case you're only interested in listening to one of those topics, I also in the show notes will put at what time you can fast forward to get to that particular topic in case you want to do that and not have to listen to the entire podcast. Although I encourage you to do that as well. That would be great. Also, one more thing is, as always, I really, really would love it if you would please give me a quick rating. Takes 1 second to just click 5 stars, of course. Also, put in a little review. Follow me on any number of my platforms. I am on YouTube. I am on Instagram. I am on TikTok. Hit subscribe. Would love that. Give me a quick review on any of those platforms, on any of the podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Just a little help in that area just does wonders. So I appreciate your help with that too. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with, since this originated as a Bachelor podcast and still do all the recaps for all the Bachelors, I'm going to start with Taylor Frankie Paul and my thoughts on this. Now, I will be honest. I did listen to the Call Her Daddy episode, but only about halfway through. I always listen to my podcasts in the car, and honestly, I got halfway through and then got to my destination. And then I had different episodes of other podcasts that I wanted to listen to instead for whatever reason. And I just never went back, and I never really heard that there was any jarring information about the second half. So I just haven't listened to the second half. Not that that really affects my opinions about the whole thing and my thoughts. But I will address a little bit of the stuff that she talked about in the part I did listen to. All right. So first and foremost, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal, outstanding idea for the franchise. I think everybody can agree on that. I think it will be probably the most watched season ever, at least the first few episodes, unless people get disinterested in it. But absolutely, the initial episode will probably be sky high ratings, because Secret Lives, if you don't know who Taylor Frankie Paul is, she is sort of the originator. Well, she is the originator of Mom Talk. She is the star of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which has a huge, huge following on Hulu. Season 3 is going to be coming out, I believe, in November, if I'm not mistaken. And I covered this, but my memory, there's so many shows that are starting in October and November that I watch that I lose track of which is which. But anyway, like new seasons coming out. So, but the season 3 is coming out, which is highly anticipated. It's supposed to be really good. I believe on this season, she finds out she's going to be the Bachelorette too. I'm not 100% sure on that, but lots of people are anticipating this season. So I think that she's got a lot of fans. I personally believe that I like her best on that show. I think they're all super authentic. I think that's what's really good about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, is they seem all really authentic. Still prefer Love Thy Neighbor, I believe. But I think that they all seem very real. They still seem very open about what's going on in their lives, the drama. They don't seem completely produced. But I like Taylor Frankie Paul because I think she is the one reality star that owns her shit. There are very few that actually do that. A lot, if drama comes up, or if something scandalous happens in their lives, something rumor worthy happens in their lives, a lot of them are blamers and don't take full accountability of things. I don't think she is that way. She seems like she's had this swinging scandal that happened a while back. She was completely open about that. It was very controversial, especially in her Mormon community. But then she's also been arrested. She has 3 kids, and I think they are with 2 different baby daddies, if I'm not mistaken. But so kind of this is twofold. So on one hand, because she's so real and because she's so authentic and because she takes accountability with all of her stuff, she is, I think, endearing to the public who watches Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I think it's also what's going to make her a really different and good, really great Bachelorette, because I feel like this is something that I don't know that we've had a chance to see it before, but I think it's going to make her endearing because she is self-aware. I think, at least again, I'm going to cover this, but on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she is self-aware, but she doesn't take shit. Like, she absolutely does not take people's shit either. And she's bold and she says it like it is. She doesn't filter herself. And I think we haven't had a Bachelorette that didn't truly filter themselves since Hannah Brown. I think a lot of people have tried to be like Hannah Brown, but I think they're trying to be like Hannah Brown. Hannah Brown was just Hannah Brown. And we had the whole moving of the rose pillar thing that she is famous for. But I think Taylor Frankie Paul will be, I mean, she probably doesn't even know who Hannah Brown is. Well, you know what I mean? So she's going to be her own person. So I love that. So I think that she's also going to make a good Bachelorette. Now, that being said, what's wild is that Bachelor and Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, all of them are also infamous for cancel culture. And if they do, like, most of them scrub their social media so that anything bad that has happened in their past is erased. And if they've ever been arrested for something, or if they ever have, have said something negatively on social media, or whatever the case may be, they scrub their past so that we can't cancel them, so to speak. But it seems like 99% of the time, someone finds it, because if nothing else, Bachelor fans are sleuths, and they dig deep, they find the shit, and they bring it out. Well, Taylor Frankie Paul's shit is all already out. I mean, we all know it because of her, because of her other show. She so first, the sleuths can't do that because it's already very much out. Also, though, a lot of times the show, like ABC or Warner Brothers or Disney, whoever you want to say, will try to hide that, or they'll try to mask it, or they'll try to spin it, or they'll try to make light of it, or they'll completely sweep it under the rug. Or, like in the past, they would have never just chosen a bachelorette who's been arrested. Like, they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have just chosen a bachelorette like from a previous show if they knew that she was a swinger, like, they would have never done that. So they've also cast this person who does not at all fit the mold as far as her past of a bachelorette. Like, just, it's the opposite. So to me, that's also kind of totally wild. It's totally outside of their box, which I value and I appreciate so much. But it's completely different than anything that they've done, or it goes against actually everything they have stood for and tried to portray in all of their past seasons, all of their past seasons. Also, do you remember when, this has not been that long ago, 5 years ago, whenever the Bachelor in Paradise, where Brendan and whatever her name was, were actually talking about followers on Instagram during the show, and they got canceled because they were the allegations were that they went on to Bachelor in Paradise for clout. Duh. Like, we all know that's what they all do, is go on for clout. No, who cares? But they lost so many followers and were so critiqued and criticized and had so much hate towards them from the fans because they talked about Instagram on Bachelor in Paradise. And now that has changed, obviously, somewhat anyway. So I feel sorry for them that they had to live during that era of which they were shamed for that. But now we're talking about someone who has millions of followers on TikTok and probably Instagram. I don't even know if she has followers on Instagram. And it's like they're completely opposite embracing that. So it's just so wild that she has been cast for this, and it completely goes against the grain of everything they have stood for in the past. But I love it. I love it. It was a really great move. I absolutely cannot wait to see how this actually goes over. We absolutely have no idea when this airs. I'm assuming, like, so it's also, that's the other thing, is that it is replacing The Bachelor, because The Bachelor forever and always has come out in January. The release date or the premiere has been January. And that was sort of Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper's teaser for this podcast with Taylor Frankie Paul, as there was a cake and it said something about happy 30th anniversary or something like that. And she cut a slice of cake, and when she took it out, it was pink. So what that meant was the 30th anniversary, the 30th season, basically, of The Bachelor would have been this next, well, will be, whenever we have it, will be the next Bachelor season. But it was saying, instead of the 30th Bachelor, we are going to be having Bachelorette, hence the pink cake. Okay. So it will be starting in January, which I'm assuming means it's going to I'm assuming. Now, who knows? They may change that. But going on that assumption, I would think that it would start filming soon. Uh, I believe that a typical Bachelorette season is filmed for about 8 or 9 weeks. I think 8 to 10 weeks. So for them to film that and have to edit it and put it into a show and do all the things that they have to do, I would assume that they are going to be start filming soon. Now, I haven't been following her, like looked at her social lately to see if she's been off the grid or if she's going to have someone that's posting past stuff that she's recorded. I don't know. I guess I could look here real quick. Okay, so she had posted 20 hours ago on TikTok. So apparently,
it's like good emotions. They flew to town to ask me. I'm so shaky because I'm nervous. But my first thoughts were, why me? You know, I think it goes without saying that I come with a lot, and I was just like, who's gonna like want me? Anyways, that's as much detail as I can give on that process. Those of you asking that question, trust me, I was right there with you. I can say is I'm beyond grateful for this opportunity. I think everything happens for a reason. I'm someone that can handle criticism, backlash. Trust me, anyone can handle it. I'm one of them. I was honestly feeling more for the people that maybe similar situations, a past single parents that were reading, you know, because they're probably reading those things like, is that how people view us single parents or someone with not a pretty past? It made me feel for them, and I'm here to say we are human, we make mistakes. Going me forward is what really matters, and there's no timeline on that either.
okay, so I won't play the whole thing because it looks like it's pretty long. But yeah, everything she's saying, like that's so true. Like, why won't Bachelor embrace all of these things that she is? Because we're all human. You can't cast a perfect person on The Bachelor, right? I mean, I think what they should be more concerned about, like going forward, is casting an entertaining person, right? It's a TV show. And I think so she was arrested. So she's got 3 kids by 2 different fathers. Like, so she was a swinger, like all of those things. She and people make mistakes. And I agree with what she said is it's more important about if you like take accountability for those things and then try to be better going forward. Because again, we're all human. And in my mind, and this is from a Christian aspect point of view, I think that I believe, because I believe it's what the Bible says, that no sin, according to God, no sin is different. So if you gossip, or if you look at a person walking on the street and think, wow, that guy's good looking, but I'm married, or if you steal something, if you were 10 and stole a piece of gum from the gas station, that sin is no more better or worse than if you commit murder. I know that doesn't seem like it in our human minds. Those are different sins, but a sin is a sin is a sin is a sin. And we're all sinners. And as long as we can take accountability for that, just try to do better. I'm getting way deeper than I meant to, but I believe a sin is a sin, and it doesn't make one person better than the other. We're all on an equal playing field. We just are. We're all humans. And, in our human minds, and I believe too, there's some people that are really shitty, and I would hope that I am a better person in general than them. But, whatever. Sorry, I'm getting off track here. But I just think that if you're going to try to pick the perfect person for a season of a TV show, pick someone that's entertaining, pick someone that's fun to watch, pick someone that is not like perfect on paper, So again, I think that she is a great choice. You could just kind of tell from that video that she is a humble person. Why me? Why? Because you're gorgeous, because you have 1 million followers on TikTok, because people love you, because people can relate to you. That's why. Whew, I'm getting really, really deep here. But I just think that it will just be a great move. It will be fun to watch. Now, my fears. So they went out the box. I'm talking about the production, about the show. They went outside the box and they have cast her. So now going forward, and when they film? Are they going to let Taylor Frankie Paul be Taylor Frankie Paul? Are we going to have to hear her say all of the same jargon we hear with every other bachelor and bachelorette? I'm here to be vulnerable with my feelings. I'm here to find someone who is vulnerable with me. I am here on this journey. Are we going to hear all of these key words? This is my journey for love. I feel like I could fall in love with person. I am falling in love with this person. I fell in love with this person. Are we going to have to hear all of these same phrases over and over and over again like we always do? This is a huge pet peeve of mine. And I don't understand why this part is so ingrained in the show, right? We have to be at these different stages at these certain times. We have to be engaged at the end, or it's a failure of a show. All of these things, in my mind, do not align with her at all. Will they let her be her, or are they going to get in her head and make her follow the typical guideline of the Bachelorette or the Bachelor? I really the thing and the fine line there too is that those of us who are fans of hers and Secret Lives of Mormon Wives know how she is on that show. We will be able to tell the difference if the producers are in her head or if they're letting her be her, because we know how she is on that show, and we will be able to see the difference if she is not that way on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. We'll be able to tell in the edit. We'll be able to tell with the things that she says, how she reacts, how she handles challenging situations. We'll be able to tell if that is them getting in her head and her making her do it in this way or not. I'm so curious, and obviously we'll never know this, what kind of things are in her contract. Obviously, they have to be paying her way more than anyone has ever gotten paid. From my understanding, leads, I believe that, I don't know if back at the beginning they did, but leads get paid, the contestants do not. But I'm going to assume they are paying her way more than any other lead has ever gotten paid. Did she only agree to it if she has certain, does she have conditions? Okay, she's got 3 kids. Are they going to, and maybe she doesn't even want to, because her kids aren't even on the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives that much. I think her previous husband, who she has, I believe, again, I'm not 100%. I know she's got at least 2 daddy babies. She has 3 kids. I don't know if she's got 3 different dads by all 3 kids. I'm not sure. But the latest baby daddy is Dakota, and he was on the show quite a bit. People are speculating, what if he comes on the show as one of the contestants? People think he's going to. I 100% do not think they will do that. I don't think they would confuse her that much. What's the point? She has tried with him so many times, even on the show. They will really ruin it if they do that. I hope the show does not bring him on. If they bring him on, I hope it's just in a capacity of, this is my child's father, person that I'm falling in love with. Oh, I just did it. Person that I'm dating, this is my kid's father. Dakota, this is Joe Schmo. Joe Schmo, this is Dakota. In that respect, fine, but hope they do not bring him on as one of the surprise contestants. But anyway, wonder if the 3 kids will be on, if they'll have them there at all. Wonder, like, a lot of things. I don't think they're going to address her past, because that's not what it's about. I hope they go forward. But another thing I'm worried about is the people that are going to, the men that will be cast for this show. Is it going to be hard? Because I also believe, from what I've heard, that they're casting specifically for her. They haven't cast a bunch of men that are just randomly going to be for her, which, I mean, thank God, they're casting for her. Man, aren't they going to have to be really careful and particular about who they cast for this? Because wouldn't this be a season where it would be super common to, or not at all surprising, to cast men who are clout chasers and just want to be on because they know who Taylor Frankie Paul is? I'm sure they're all going to think she's hot and the whole thing, but who will be interested in actually becoming, you know, involved with her, in a relationship with her, because of valid, uh, real reasons, you know? Um, how are they going to filter the clout chasers from the non-clout chasers? Granted, they may all be clout chasers to a certain extent, but if I were Taylor Frankie Paul, that would be a fear of mine. Are you on this show just because you want to get famous, or because, I mean, obviously it's going to be one of, like I just said, one of the highest watched, if not the highest watched premiere for sure, but seasons ever. That would be a big fear of mine if I were her going into it. So how are we going to, you know, for the right reasons, answer, going to know that with this set of men? It would be great actually if they could find halfway, even like famous in their own right men, whether they already are independently financially sound, are influencers themselves. I don't know. In my head, that could be a component, although they're probably chasing clout chasers too. I don't know. I just think that would be a really hard segment of having her as the lead, is that part. So that will be interesting. I also wonder, where are they going to go from here? Uh, I guess because, like, how do you follow up to Taylor Frankie Paul? It feels like your leads are, at least if you're looking for the long-term continued success of The Bachelor, because we all know, and it's talking about everywhere, I talk about it all the time, how really, really downhill the show has gone in general, and how it's just getting stale, and it's old fashioned, so to speak. They don't, their change ups are so minor that it doesn't influence the following of the show really at all. The ratings have just plummeted. The people coming off the shows used to get millions of followers. They don't anymore at all. And for them to change that, they've got to change things substantially. This is a substantial change. However, going forward, if they're really going to then, like, this be a fresh start, how are they going to continue that? It almost seems like every lead then is going to have to be somebody that we all care about, not just Bachelor fans, you know? Or there have to be a big enough name that everyone's going to want to continue. Like, who will the Bachelor be then? Will the Bachelor be a person off of Taylor Frankie Paul's show? Now, I would say probably, because this will be a highly watched show. This will be a show that more people will actually get invested in the men and know the man because he was on Taylor Frankie Paul's season, right? Especially if he goes far. In my opinion, if you're not going to go for like a Tyler Cameron, or I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't even think of someone else. He's in a relationship, so it won't be him, but someone else really big. How, like, will you continue the ratings? I guess I'm saying what my risk, I think like the risk is that this will be a great season for them, but will they be able to sustain this? Will they be able to sustain this level of popularity that this season is going to bring them? So I am super excited for it, but again, I feel like there are some risks involved. And for the show going forward, but I also am just, I really, really mostly just talking about this season, hope they let her be her, because I think they're really, really going to fail, and it will be a huge mistake if they don't allow her to be herself and don't edit her to make her a typical Bachelorette. It would just be a huge mistake. Otherwise, the point of having her on will be for naught. It's just, that's how I feel. So there you go. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. It will be interesting because I'm assuming that if they start filming fairly soon, she's going to be filming when The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 3 comes out, and they also, you know, they all do obviously a promotional tour for that whenever it happens, and you know, she will not be present for that because she'll be filming The Bachelorette. I don't know. This is so different. I'm really excited about it. But I'm really just curious, literally from here forward, how everything will be handled and what the show's going to be like. So yeah, stay tuned. Okay. So next, hang on a second. So at 30 minutes, I start. Okay. Okay. So next, I am going to be talking about the summer I turned pretty. All right. So I never have watched this in the past. The first 2 seasons I did not watch. I've had so many people tell me, you got to watch it. 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 And I was just like, it seems too high schooly for me. I didn't read the books, like whatever. Granted, it is high schooly, but you know me. I mean, I watch everything. So I don't know why I thought that in my head, because it doesn't matter if it's high schooly or if it's old people, I'm there. But so I started watching this probably about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and just finished it last night. All right. So according to the few people that are really close to me, that includes Allie, that are fans of the show and asked me to watch it, from what I understand, I have really hot takes. I am going to say that my hot takes are possibly because I am 54 and I am a mom. And I think that without realizing it, I, watch it in that frame of mind. So my 2 hot takes, just in general on the show, are I was team Jeremiah the whole time. That being said, I'll address like the end of the show, season 3. But that was my one hot take. My second hot take is that Jeremiah is also a better looking guy than Conrad. Okay, there they are. Those are my 2 big hot takes, apparently. I don't know. If you're out there and you agree with me, I would love to hear from you. Like, whatever, comment. I want to know who my team Conrad, no, I feel like that's everybody. Who are my other team Jeremiah people out there? There's got to be more than just me, right? It's got to be just more than me. Why? You ask me why. Why am I team Jeremiah versus team Conrad? Look, I looked at it from a sense of team Jeremiah, because especially in seasons 1 and 2, he was a dick. He was an asshole. I would never want my daughter to end up with a Conrad because, oh yeah, to everyone watching, he's this hot guy who is like, complex and deep, and he's got these emotions, and he, there's so much to him, and blah, 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 blah. And that Jeremiah seems so like, whatever. Some people may frame it as cringy. He seems to, I can't think of the word besides just saying like mushy. He's like friend material. He's, I don't know, too much. He's annoying. I didn't think any of those. I loved Jeremiah. First of all, his eyes and his curly hair. I mean, I don't know how anything that Conrad has. Also, he has a better body. This seems weird because I'm 54 and they're young guys. I'm just saying this as like just my observations. If this would have been another 54-year-old, right? Okay. But I think that his body was better, his hair was better, his eyes were better than Conrad's. Conrad needs to hit the gym. Sorry, he just does. Also, like, I don't know. His hair got on my nerves. So, not but I don't know. That was just my thoughts on that part. But also Conrad, I would much rather see my daughter with a person like Jeremiah than Conrad. Conrad, as everyone's like what he's famous for, is every time something got hard, he just pushed her away. He just became an asshole. He would say mean things to her. He would make her feel like shit. He would make her feel, not enough. Like, that is damaging. That is damaging to a person. And, why does everyone think he's going to be different now? granted, he was young. I know, like, your frontal lobe develops, blah, 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 blah. By the time the season ends, he's supposed to be what, like mid-20s, I guess. But I am like, well, why do we think he's different now? Why do we think he's going to be different? Because supposedly he always loved Belly. He always loved her, even in seasons 1 and 2. That's what he convinced her of at the end of this season. Granted, also, if you're listening to this, I am going to talk about the end and what happens at the end. So if you're not spoiled, then don't listen to it because I'm going to spoil it. But why? So starting right now. So how come when she goes running after him in Paris in the subway, she thinks he's going to not hurt her again? Or if things get hard, he's not going to run away or close himself off, or some of those things are just intricacy. What's that word? Anyway, are just in a person, and that worries me for her. This is a fictional person. I realize that, but I worry for her because how does she know he's not going to be like that again? I don't know. I just did not like him. I just thought he was mean, and he mentally messed with her mind. Made her feel like she was everything. And then on a fucking dime, when his mom dies, I get that's traumatic and people do things that aren't, very nice. But the same things happened to Jeremiah. It was his mom too. All of those things happened to him, and he didn't treat Belly like crap. He was so good to her. She was literally his everything. She was like, no matter what happened, he was there for her, and he looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. And yeah, Conrad would slip looks like that to her too. I get it. But there was something about the way that Jeremiah would look at her that was just different than Conrad. Sorry, that's how I feel. Okay, so then jumping to season 3, everybody's like, okay, I can kind of get that you were Team Jeremiah in the first 2 seasons, but you're totally going to change your mind in season 3. You're 100% going to change your mind. Okay. Yes. Whenever I found out that he cheated on her in Cabo, 100% jaw dropped. I was like, no, not my Jeremiah. He can't do this to her. He cannot do this to her. What? And I agree, as everyone said on the show and off the show, it was like 2 seconds after were they on a break? Wow, I was really went in the show friend zone. Whenever this was like, were they on a break? This was classic Friends. I believe the writer was, whatever her name is, was a fan of Friends and took this part from the book. Were they on a break? Were they not on a break? Because it was it was exactly like Friends. It was literally exactly like Friends. And you know how Friends ended? Friends ended with Rachel and Ross together. So Jeremiah and her should have been together. Were they on a break? He didn't think they were on a break. Were they on a break or aren't they on the break? That's the big thing about Friends. He slept with someone else 2 seconds after they were on a break. Was Ross drunk? Yes, Ross was drunk. Was Jeremiah drunk? Yes, Jeremiah was drunk. Yeah, I guess they did it twice. I get it. All of that. I'm not condoning cheating by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not condoning cheating. But he cheated. Apparently it meant nothing because at least the book, it wasn't like they continued anything when they came back. Apparently he was just like a somber mess while he was on that vacation. Whatever. I'm not excusing that. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that what Conrad did to her in the first 2 seasons, up and down with the mental abuse, I'm going to call it. Y'all are going to come at me about it was not mental abuse. Abuse is a very strong, harsh word, but it was messing with her. It really was not nice. I don't know that that's any better than cheating one night in Cabo when you thought you were broke up and you were hammered. In my opinion, I'm sorry, I don't know, because one is like a one-time mistake. The other was not one time, it was multiple times. And it's also like a personality trait where you are someone who just like can't handle difficult stuff. And so push the other person away and put blame them for anything or make them the punching bag. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So yes, I'm pissed off that he did that to her. It was terribly wrong. They worked it out. I also, I get it. He asked her to marry him when, basically as an apology for cheating on her in Cabo. But she said yes. It was a two-way street. She said yes immediately. And, I know we have all these little times like at Michael's when they were shopping together and they had this great time together. And then when he cooked supper for her, then we had the whole Christmas thing, the whole Christmas where they didn't do anything, but she, looked at him in that way again, blah, 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 blah. I get it. And, I get all that, but I don't care. She still seemed to really, really love Jeremiah, in my opinion. Like, I totally feel that she really loved him. And it comes down to the wedding. I didn't disagree with Laurel or anyone really that it was like aggressive to just get engaged and get married at that age. I 100% agree. They should have waited. They should have not have done that, but it's a book and it's just part of it. Right. So they cancel the wedding. And then they go on to live their separate lives. Okay. This part it was a weird, like observation of myself watching it. It was weird because like once the wedding ended and they weren't getting married, and then we jumped to like post wedding, it almost felt like I was watching an entirely different show or different season. I felt I was invested. Don't get me wrong. I loved the show still, but I felt like I was separated from it in a weird way. Like the continuity of it seemed off to me somehow. It was just weird. Like as I was watching it, I just couldn't, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I felt like this was like 20 years later or something. And it made me be like, I'm not quite as invested in any of them now because this feels like so much time has passed, or it's like different people almost. And I wasn't as invested in the ending as I was even in wanting to know what was like going to happen on the wedding day as I was watching that episode, like when it was over, I was like, all right. I mean, I guess I saw it coming a million miles away. Like I didn't read the books, but I figured she would end up with someone. Kind of in the back of my head, I would have been like, how about she end up with nobody? How about that? How about she just end up being independent? It makes it seem like she literally will never have been single in her entire life. Never have been single one time. And I think there's value in that. I'm just saying. I think there's value in being a 20-year-old, 20-somethings. I wasn't, I guess, but I think there is value in being a 20-somethings single. She literally went from being 12 and 9 and 10 and being in love with Conrad to going straight into Jeremiah, as was addressed on the show. She had sex with 2 people her entire life and their brothers. Like, I don't know. That seems messed up. Like, when I just said that, when I just said that sentence, like, think about that. You have sex with 2 people in your entire life and they're brothers. Like, all of you Samurai Turn Pretty fans, do you realize that that's what happened? Wow. That was addressed by the one French friend. But until I just said that out loud, it seems fucked up. Sorry, it just does. So I almost think that it would have been very, and granted, I guess she was single in Paris, for that year that she was in Paris, but not completely, because part of the time she's just healing. So there's that healing process of like, your wedding just having been stopped. And then, so she had a little period of being single. And so, she dated that other guy. I guess they did have sex. So I guess there was 3 people she had sex with in her lives, because that Paris guy, I don't even remember, Antonio, maybe something like that. So they were a thing, but apparently that wasn't for long at all. And, they're still friends and the whole thing. That part was a little like, very vague to me too. I mean, I guess that was just to show that maybe she felt she had healed herself so she could move on with another guy, but like it was very unclear as to, were they living together? Did they only have sex once? Did she never really like him? Like that part was very unclear to me. And I wasn't even 100% sure when Conrad made his appearance, and 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 I guess they clarified that it just didn't work out after 6 weeks. Did I understand that right too? After 6 weeks? But I don't know. That part was very vague and confusing for me. I wasn't ever 100% sure if like they were together or not together, because they were also like in the corner talking really like close there at that dinner with Conrad. It was weird to me. Um, but anyway, the last whatever it was, 2 or 3 episodes, I don't know. I didn't like fully enjoy them like I did the rest of the show. I guess I will just say. And I'm sure all of you Team Conrad people were like loved those episodes because they finally put them together. So but I'm not gonna lie, also in the very last whatever it was, 10 minutes when you're watching it, and she picks up the teddy bear, what was his name, like Peppermint, or I forget what his name was, but the teddy bear, she picks him up and looks at the infinity necklace and like realizes in that moment that he is the only person she's ever loved, and she doesn't want to let him go. After she just made complete and total valid points to him sitting on that bed, I was like, okay, girl, this is what I want. I want, yes, have some clarity here. You don't know how he's going to be going forward. Like, this is good. Like, stand your ground, Nope. Nope. She looks at the teddy bear and literally runs across the city, across the train terminal, buys a ticket, like runs through the train to the very last car in the very last seat for when she sees him, and it's over. Come on. Come on. They're, first of all, unrealistic. Completely unrealistic. And those shoes she was in, I mean, her feet had to be bleeding. I'm for real. And I just like didn't like that part. It was, of course, this like, magical ending to a show that 90% of the people wanted them to be together, and it was great. But there's a lot of whole plots there. Then what? Is she going to Brussels with him? Because they're on that train. So is she going to go to that convention with him in Brussels? And then what? Are they going to live in Paris? Is she going to go back home and she's going to live in Cousins? What are they going to, like, is she just going to like dump everything she built for herself in Paris and go back home? No. Like, I was fully invested. I'm going to tell you that. I was jealous of that part. I was fully invested in the fact that she just went to Paris and just said, you know what? I'm staying here. I'm going to live here. I'm going to find some jobs. I'm going to figure out where I'm going to live. Like, wow. Like, to do that, that is independence. That is somebody that's not codependent. That is someone who can like be a boss bitch, babe, boss bitch, whatever. Like, I think I was in more admiration of her in those parts than in the entire 3 seasons. Loved the part. I was like, man, to have the guts to build that kind of life for yourself, have all these friends, whatever. That part I was completely into. Now what's going to happen? He should come and live with her in Paris. That's what I think. If they're going to be together, then that's what he should do. And if he gets like annoyed because he can't speak French, or because he wants to go back to where he's comfortable, and he starts brooding again, and he starts like treating her like shit again because he's going to take it out on her, I'm going to say I told you so. Just going to say I told you so. So from what I understand, now I miss this part because I fast forwarded through everything. Or well, no, I didn't. Just kidding. Like the commercials and stuff. Allie told me that at the beginning of the last episode, they said that there's going to be a movie coming up, that they're going to do a movie like as a epilogue, I suppose, or something. So great. Love that. But if we get to that movie and they have moved back to the United States, I'm going to be pissed, because it will be because he wanted to. I'm telling you, I know. So some of you are going to say, no, because part of the reason she was in Paris was because she was just trying to keep distance from all of that back home and she's not ready to come home yet. Well, I don't care. Look at the life she built. I know she didn't have like this massively good career, but she could figure that out. She built this life and friends and this cool apartment she has now. I think they should stay in Paris. I know they won't because everyone else is back there. How are they going to make a movie with them in Paris and everyone else back in what state were they in anyway? I never did catch that. All right. So that's that part. Now I want to briefly address some of the other storylines. Okay. Loved Laurel and Savannah. No, not Savannah. Susanna. Loved them. Loved, hate that they made Susanna die, but get that that was like really, really a hardcore storyline that had to have that in there because that's why we had brooding Conrad. But wait, sorry. Back up. So we're going to go to, let me finish with Jeremiah then. So yes. So we have the ending for Jeremiah ending with Denise. Okay. So that was kind of cute because I started off not liking Denise. Maybe we all were supposed to, but then in the end loved her. And then the two curly hair people together. Love that. Loved it for Jeremiah, honestly, because then they finally put him on this path where he was like, he's going to be this famous chef in the movie. You know that. He and Denise, I hope that they keep them together, that they like get married or something. I don't know. But, like they have him on a path career wise that may be successful. They have him go through like this hard, like assholey time for when he's like getting over this belly thing. And I think, people I think thought that told me that I would change my mind in season 3. I didn't change my mind. I'm pissed at him for cheating on Belly. I am. And he acted honestly, all the things he told Belly, at the wedding, like why they shouldn't get married, were valid. Sorry, but they were. Like, I also don't know if I knew, that I was going to marry someone and she was in love with my brother. I also, I don't care if she's saying I'm choosing you. If I know she still loves him, what? Like, that is not healthy. So I think all the things he had, all the reasons he had were valid. I really, really think that they were valid. And Laurel should actually be happy with that. Like I thought he was being very mature in the end about actually breaking off that wedding because that was the right thing to do. And Belly wasn't doing it. And he did. So I don't know how come you all were Team Conrad the whole time. I hope you weren't mad at Jeremiah for breaking off the wedding because that's what you want. You want her to end up with Conrad. So don't be mad at Jeremiah for doing that because that was honestly the mature thing to do and the right thing to do. So I like that. Yeah, he went through this period of like being pissed off and kind of being a dick after that. But why? Who wouldn't, So like kudos to him. And then kudos that he found someone that, like they were cute. I think they're cute in the end. So I'm not saying that I think like Belly should still be with Jeremiah. Although I will also say on her birthday when her and Conrad had slept together and she woke up in the morning and was like in this different mindset and she went to the bathroom and she checked her phone to see, I guess, like who all had wished her a happy birthday. She was upset that Jeremiah had not texted her happy birthday. Did you see the look on her face? So she still is also caught up on Jeremiah. You're not going to tell me that she's not still caught up on Jeremiah and probably still loves him too. So is Conrad going to be okay with the fact that she still really loves Jeremiah too? Like, you know what I mean? But that's how I took it, at least. When she sat on the toilet and was looking at who had texted her, she was upset that Jeremiah was not one of those people. So yeah, those are my thoughts on those 3. Okay, so again, Laurel and Susanna, really like them. Now, I will say when they started showing like the flashbacks of Susanna, like before she died, and I can't speak to this because I've never obviously been in that situation, but sometimes I thought she was a little over the top with her actions towards her 2 sons. Sometimes it felt a little too close. Like it felt like she was always touching them, like always touching their face and always touching them. I didn't like that. and I know that's not what they were trying to portray at all. I get that. And I loved her, but like, I didn't like how close she acted towards her sons. Like, I don't know. There's something I was a little weirded out about that. I also felt like it was kind of almost an unhealthy connection she had to Belly. And to be honest, if I was Laurel, I would have been like, okay, chill. It's my daughter. Like, and I know they're best friends. And it was as if, but I have best friends and I am like, well, I guess I have a daughter though, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a little almost too over the top. And if I were Laurel at times, I would have been like, okay, you need to chill. Just step back like a half a step, a little bit. But I almost felt like that was a little too much with the way she was with Belly sometimes. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I loved Laurel. I loved that they finally made some parents seem real and flawed as well, but not flawed in a naive sense. Like, what I liked about Laurel is that she was like, knew her kids drank underage. She knew they like were probably having sex. She knew that they were, disobeying her, and she would take a hard line, but she wasn't naive to it. I hate when on TV shows they make the parents seem like they're so naive and they don't have any idea that their kids are like, doing teenager stuff behind the scenes, that they just make them seem stupid and naive. I hate when they make parents like that. And I did not think they did that with Laurel at all. But I thought they made her seem human. I hated when she wasn't on board with the wedding, was refusing to go to anything at all. Like, I was really scared that somehow that was going to actually end up that way. Obviously I was very happy to see her finally, because that's how I would be. Even if I was like, I do not think this would happen, I would have had the dad stance, more like, look, I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to reject my son or daughter completely because they're doing this. They're adults and it's, their choice. I guess if they end up divorced, they end up divorced. But I wouldn't like shut them off or like completely shut them out because of it. So that, I really liked Laurel a lot. I loved how they took her character to different places. I love how her and her ex, I can't think of his name, I guess we're led to believe they're kind of together. I don't know. But I just liked that storyline. Taylor, the first few episodes, I did not like her. But it was because I thought she was going to be the friend who was always wanting to be the center of attention and was always getting the attention over and above her best friend, so Belly. And I thought she was just going to be like that look at me girl, totally. But I changed that. I mean, she definitely made her opinion known, but I wouldn't really classify her as a look at me girl. She said what she thought and she was unfiltered, but she was always 100% supportive and stood behind Belly. And I love that. So I really came to like her a lot and was obviously really, really rooting for her and Steven. I loved the journey they took those two on during all 3 seasons. I was very happy that they ended up together. I was really worried there for a while with Steven and Denise because they really made it seem like they were going to be a thing. So it kind of totally threw me when they had them kiss over ice cream and they were like, did you feel anything? And they were like, no. They both were like, no, I did not feel anything. I didn't expect that. And I really didn't know where that was going. But I was happy to see that. So those two characters, now I will say that Steven was a bit cringy to me at times. I felt like his acting when he was, I don't know, like trying to be funny or silly, or I don't know, it felt like it was too much almost. And I will say that about like several scenes. There were a lot of cringy scenes whenever everyone's trying to be like, oh, this is so fun, and oh my gosh, you're so funny. Like those, I was like, ugh, like, I don't, that's too much. But that's fine. But no, I really enjoyed their story too. Couldn't stand the one frat guy with the mustache. I don't know that you were supposed to like him. You were probably supposed to feel that way about him. Really loved Denise when they brought her in. After the first couple episodes, I wasn't sure what they were going to do with her exactly. Lucinda, Taylor's mom, drove me batty, but I think she was supposed to drive you batty. Like she was that parent who I don't like that I'm sure there's scenarios like that though, where the kid is more of the parent than the parent is. So I'm sure that's a real scenario. Just would hate that for myself. Let's see, who am I missing? Anybody? The dad, Adam, was that his name? The dad of Conrad and Jeremiah. They kind of gave him a redemption arc a little bit in the third season. Although he wasn't really that strong of a character in the whole 3 seasons. But no, overall, loved it. Loved The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm very glad I watched it. All you people who told me to watch it, I am so happy I did. But yeah, I just apparently have hot takes. So if you have any opinions about my hot takes, then let me know. All right. This is way longer than I thought it would be. I can't ever stop talking. So I will make this segment a bit shorter. So now I'm going to be talking about my Dancing with the Stars opinions based on the first episode. And again, since this is just a dance competition, I can't get super deep into it. But based on the first dances only, I'm going to say that the people that stood out to me, and this isn't only by talent, because I'm saying overall, and granted, I haven't seen every single season of Dancing with the Stars. I've watched a lot of it, but not every season. Of the seasons I have seen, this to me seems by far the most talented season of anything I've seen. Like from the first dance, wow. I also completely could not understand why Derek and what's his name? Whatever. Why they gave 5s and 6s so much. Like, come on. Just because it's the first episode and you can't start off giving 8s because then there's nothing to lead up to. That has to be the only reason, because the very first person who danced was Jordan, right? The gymnast. That was not a 5. You cannot tell me if she did that dance like midway through the season, even she would get a 5 on that dance. There's no way. Granted, I know nothing about judging dance, but I know that it was not a 5. Even the second person, who I can't remember who it was, but I was wild to me, the scores that they were given based on me having watched so many seasons of the show and me just watching superficially. Like, I don't know, that blew my mind. But based on entertainment factors and like what it seemed as far as the person having fun doing what they're doing and all of that, I'm going to just look at the list here. But what I wrote down is these were my favorites and who I'm going to really kind of root for. I loved Elaine Hendricks. Now, she is the chick that was in like The Parent Trap, and she's from that era. And the reason I don't really know her. I had to Google who she was. I didn't know who she was, but she is exactly my age. She's 54 years old and she looks phenomenal. But she doesn't look plastic, or, you know what I mean? She looks, I believed it when it said, I was like, oh, she's probably my age. But she looks phenomenal and she did really great. She, I guess, used to be a dancer. But she did a really great job, I thought. And so I want to follow her through the season because she's my age. And like, I think it's admirable for someone to do, like she was saying in her little teaser clip with when she met who's she with Alan Bernstein. I don't know how to pronounce all those, but she was like, I used to dance, but now I am 54 and I don't know my body is going to be able to do this or not. And I 1000% get that, because I slowly realizing I can't do what I used to, and that is humbling, let me tell you. The other person that, maybe this is a given, but Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Obviously, she got one of the high scores. She's a 15, but I really enjoyed watching her. She in that outfit and with that hairstyle she had, I would not, if I would have watched that and didn't know who I was watching, I would have not said that's Whitney. Wow, she was gorgeous. Not that I don't think she's gorgeous anyway, but I, anyway, I was really impressed with her. I loved how she was having fun. If you don't watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she's kind of the villain, or has been in past seasons, the villain. And I feel like watching Dancing with the Stars, we are going to get a different side of her, maybe, and that she'll get maybe a few more fans, because now I liked her on the last season of the show, but I don't know. I really liked her, and I liked her better than Jen Affleck. Now, she did very good as well, and she was fine, but she wasn't a standout to me, to be honest. It was a crazy routine, and she had so many lifts and turns and all of that it was super impressive. But it was not. She's not on my top list. Robert Irwin, I didn't know. I had to Google who he was too. Clearly, he's the Australian alligator hunter or whatever son. Wow, was he entertaining? Holy crap. The accent, his entertainment factor in the dance, how he was having fun, loved it. And I'm not just saying that because it was so good, because he and Whitney tied for the two top scores, but I didn't expect to be totally rooting for him, just because he's kind of a rando, and just being honest, he's not like one of the big names that I knew. So I'm rooting for him. I also liked what's his name again? Scott Hoying. Hoying? I think that's how you say it. He's from Pentatonics, right? He's one of the, I didn't know who he was. And I had to Google him, but I just had fun watching him. Like, he was good. He was definitely good. He wasn't like amazing, but I just thought he looked like he was having so much fun dancing. And I think that's why I enjoyed watching him. I really, really liked him. So like those four are at the top of my list for people I want to. Alex Earl was also really good. And I kind of am going to root for her too, but I don't know. She wasn't my she was very good, but I don't know. It wasn't a standout as far as feeling like she was really having fun doing this. Now, my other two notables. Okay, I love Dylan Efron. Loved him in Traitors. Absolutely. So happy to hear him on Dancing with the Stars. One, I don't have him as my top four because I'll be honest, I was a little cringed out watching him in his first dance. I know it's the first dance, but I'm just saying, I was a little cringed out watching him. I don't know why. Some of his movements were a little over the top. I thought he almost tried too hard without actually being that good. I don't know. I guess I thought because of the High School Musical and Zac Efron that he'd be this amazing dancer. I mean, it wasn't bad by any stretch. Was really good, but I don't know. I was a little disappointed in that performance. Come at me. Corey Feldman. This will be funny because he's also exactly my age. He's also 54. But when I saw him dancing, I'm like, oh, wow, Corey Feldman. I mean, back in the day, he was huge movie star, huge movie star. He was in everything. He was in one of my most favorite movies, which is Stand By Me. Loved him, really did. But he is definitely showing his age, I believe. And I got a kick. Now, I think I will actually enjoy watching him too, just because it's Corey Feldman. And I have an attachment to him because he's my era, right? Wasn't that good, but kind of got a kick out of him, but almost moved like he was 75 instead of 54. But that'll be fun to watch too, I think. Obviously, really the only guy who is not good is Andy Richter. I mean, really, out of everybody else, Andy Richter was the only one where he was you're just token older person. I didn't even look to see how old he was, but he was just obviously they gave him a lot of these, hand movements. that she incorporated into the routine because he couldn't actually do the steps. So he got lots of like Saturday Night Live hand movement moves, but our Saturday Night Fever. So, but that's fine. He was kind of funny and fun to watch too. But again, they all are really good. It's impressive. I'll have to I just will have to watch because it's an impressive cast. I always like watching Dancing with the Stars though, because I can literally watch the 2-hour show in about 20 to 25 minutes because I absolutely fast forward through everything but the dance and the scores. That's it. I mean, I don't even watch really, unless it's like really, really awesome. I kind of want to hear what the judges have to say. I was also thrown off by Carrie Ann and Abba not being there because again, I was fast forwarding everything, so didn't realize she was sick. But I fast forward through everything except for the dances themselves. So and the scoring. And there's a lot of other fluff in that show. But yeah, that's the way to watch it if you ask me. Bruno, that's the other one. Okay, so that's it. That is my episode. So we are, we're done. I'm going to be coming at you then again later this week. I hope on Thursday it will come out. My recap of the Golden Bachelor with Mel Owens to see how that pans out for us. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't even looked. Sorry, I should have. Whether this first episode is going to be a 2-hour episode and then go to 1-hour episodes as we always have with the Golden, or what they're going to do. But either way, I will come back at you this week. But again, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Tell all your friends, tell your family. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, all of the things. I appreciate it. So until next time, be calm, be strong, be kind, and be grateful. Bye.